What's up YouTube? Today I'm installing BC coilovers on my E46 and I'm going to show you guys how to do it. So first we're going to start with removing the front wheels with the 17mm socket. Now you're going to have these jacking points on all four. So now we're going to use a 17mm to remove these sway bar end links. Using a ratchet and the 17mm to remove the bottom one. After that's removed, you can just pull it out of here. So now we're going to have a 13mm nut at the bottom of this control arm. After that's out, this will just pull out of there. I like to put the bolts back on there. Now we're going to have an 18mm bolt on the side of the strut. So now what you're going to want to do is hit right here and right here until the strut assembly falls out of there. Now we're going to take these three 13mm bolts out. We're going to use a 21mm socket to take off this top nut. It releases the pressure of the spring. We have the front strut off. On the coilovers, they're labeled front right, front left. For this part, it's easier to have two people. One person to screw the nuts in on the top, one person to feed this through the bottom. So now just get these top bolts hand loose, and we're gonna use a jack to jack up off of this lower control arm to line up this. There's a pin right here. It lines right up with the gap. So now we're gonna put the 18mm bolt right back in here. Don't forget your brake line. So this bolt snapped on me, so I'm just going to drill it out and put a new bolt in there. I'm going to remove the bottom 18mm bolt. We're going to remove the 21mm on top of here. After you get the top hat piece from on top of the spring, then you're going to remove the 13mm nuts on top, and the top hat piece is going to drop down. After that, you have the whole strut assembly removed and you can put the new coilover back in. After you get that bolt on, you're going to want to mount up your sway bar end links, and then we're going to come up here and tighten these bolts. Back on the passenger side, got the coil in. What's left is the sway bar end link. To get them hand tightened, you're going to use a 17mm socket and tighten those. So after the sway bar end links are all tightened, you're going to want to feed this through there and use a 13mm. You're going to use a 12mm to tighten the top hat bolts. Now after that, the front's done and we can move to the rear. Okay, so now we're going to jack up the rear. I'll get back whenever the wheels are off. Okay, so now what you're going to want to do is put your jack underneath, and you're going to use an 18mm socket to take off this bolt for the shock. After you remove the bolt, the shock should be free and you can lower the jack. And then you're just going to want to step on this right here and pull out the spring. We have the spring out. We're going to go to the top bolts of the shock. Okay, so I have the trunk gutted, so we were able to just pull out the sound deadening fabric, and then we'll get to the two 13mm bolts on the top. After you remove the bolts, the shock should just drop down. You can pull it out. Now we can just place our spring in there. Make sure that you have the little rubber grommet lined up. All right, so then we're just gonna feed this up through here.
Then you're just gonna wanna screw these up here.
What you're gonna wanna do is jack it up at the same point. Make sure that the spring grommet lines back up with that grommet. And then you're gonna wanna bolt down this shock. After you have the spring lined up, get this bolt hand tight and then tighten it down with the impact. We're gonna come in here and tighten these 12mm nuts, and I'll come back to you whenever I have that done. After that, I'm just gonna twist this nut off of there. And that's just gonna drop through there. Come over here, grab this messed up thing, and we're just gonna come and put it through here.
And then once again, you're gonna want to just screw these up here. Oh.
Okay, and now we're just gonna put the rubber grommet right onto here. And we're gonna rest the spring in there. And then now we're gonna jack it up right off of the bottom, line up this top grommet to this, and then put the bolt in for the shock. Now after that, we have the spring and the shock in on both sides. We're gonna throw on the wheel, lower it. I'll show you guys what it looks like after. Throw some of these stickers on. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to follow my content on this E46, give me a subscribe. Leave a comment and let me know if you have any questions. Peace out.